can maybe get it in less, Mike. I'm Sabrina. I am a senior lecturer in SOLS, and I'm also the academic lead for work integrated learning in the Faculty of Science, in case anybody doesn't know that and is interested in that area. And this is Burnett from the Careers Centre, but she's embedded in the faculty and an excellent resource. And also Sarah is co-coordinating the AVBS placements program. You want me in front of the camera? Is that okay? Fine, I'll hide behind this. All right, so just acknowledging elders past, present, and emerging, and also acknowledging that I actually work and live on Gamilaroi country up in the northwest of New South Wales. So I just wanted to make an acknowledgement of that. Okay, so quick interaction here. What do you think? So, I mean, I obviously teach into a degree that's a little bit more kind of directed towards a set career path, or so students think. Maybe some of you teach into more broad degrees, but what do you think, maybe hands up or comments, final year students are most worried about? Yes. Job placement. Perfect. It's like a planted answer almost. Anyone else? It's probably, yes, exactly. Where are they going to end up? Exams, yeah. Apart from exams, but yes, that's probably the second answer I would receive.
And then Alyssa, you talked about transition into university. Now we're thinking about transition after university, but should start from day one. So how many of your students know what jobs are available? Oh yeah, sorry. There. How many of your students know what jobs are available when they graduate or as they're going through their degree? Any?
Tiny fraction, just repeat it.
Oh, a tiny fraction, just so y'all hear that. Cool.
Great. Okay. So, I mean, the main thing is that they don't know where they're going to end up. And that's pretty much the key. I just thought I would give in case you don't know, many of you probably don't, but who are the students we're talking about? We're talking about particularly animal and veterinary bioscience students, or AVBS. And this is a degree that a lot of students do because they think that it will get them directly into the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, but that is not necessarily the case. It's actually a really important multidisciplinary animal science degree. And our students can end up in a range of careers, from agriculture, biotechnology, laboratory research, animal health, and also the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. And I'm not going to go through this, but this is what we show our students. This is where they can end up. And it is vast. So essentially, it's an applied science degree.
Can I say something?
Yes.
And just because you're from all different disciplines and different schools, all your students have a vast opportunity like this. We just have it mapped out for AVBS.
I don't know who made this, but it's an excellent resource. So we should find the person that made this. I still don't actually know. Mike, maybe you know. I don't know. Okay. So I guess maybe this question's already answered, but when you hear animal and veterinary bioscience, what do you think? Maybe you hear the veterinary, right? So you're thinking these students are vets. And I actually had a student tell me they thought they were enrolling in a vet degree when they enrolled in this degree. So little problem with nomenclature there, but anyway, one of the things I've been working as a placement coordinator in this degree for like 10 years, maybe more now, and teaching into this degree for a really long time. Students love the discipline. It started more as an agricultural unit degree, so very agricultural background, animal science. And now in the past sort of 10 years, it's really transitioned into more of a vet pathway. So students really doing this because they want to be vets, but they didn't get into the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. And so we end up with these students that kind of don't really know where they're going to end up if they don't get into the DVM. So they know they love animals, they love science, obviously, but they don't really know what kind of jobs exist. So we're not really doing a very good job in our first, second year cohorts of kind of showcasing those careers. And we're still not, that's actually still a problem. So it's kind of our challenge that we want to solve beyond what we're going to talk about today. And where Anne comes in the Career Center is that they can't necessarily articulate those transferable skills. And a lot of these students have come out of school, out of high school, and don't have experience applying for professional roles. And so we have students that get to the end of a 4-year degree and have no idea how to write a CV or go to a job interview and present themselves professionally. So I guess what we're really trying to solve here is that students can't aspire to careers that they can't see. So this is super tiny. Sorry, we kind of did these slides at the very last minute, but we know what we want to say. But where do we start? Well, this unit that I'm talking about is ABBS 4000. It's a capstone professional development unit that has been run since this degree pretty much started. And the idea is it takes their industry placements and then integrates those experiences in professional development unit of study in their final year, where we get industry speakers in, they write a portfolio, and they would, kind of engage a little bit. So at the beginning, engagement was really poor. We didn't really have any career center or support integrated into the uni. We just had industry, usually graduates, coming in and talking to our students. And then the students would get a couple of questions and they would answer those questions, and that would be their assessment for the unit. And then they'd write a portfolio about their degree placement experiences and a bit of a reflection on how that shaped their career path. So there wasn't a lot of guidance. So what we learned from this is that through COVID and post-COVID, students just stopped showing up to class. And so we'd have these industry speakers coming in and students wouldn't show up. And, they'd watch the recording, they'd answer the questions, and then they'd do everything else that they needed to do outside of the class, because they had a lot of other important things to focus on in 4th year. So what I then thought was, why don't we start engaging with the Career Center to come and actually talk to them about careers? Because I'm a lifetime academic. Maybe I don't have all the best advice about breadth of careers. And so that's where we started to introduce the Career Center to give a talk. And that's not really that novel. We probably have lots of degrees where that happens.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, just that Sabrina asked me to come and talk, and I thought there's going to be 70. I asked how many students. There'll be about 70 students. And I used to teach English as a second language as a pathway program at Newcastle. And I thought, how am I going to engage a bunch of students and make them interact? Because they can look at my slides, but I have an hour or 2 hours with them, and I want them to get the biggest bang for their buck. So I workshopped. I went in and just applied what I did to my ESL classes, and it worked. And it started, tall poppy syndrome is a real big thing in Australia. And so students not understanding where their confidence is, or that they actually have confidence, where their skills lie, all the stuff they've learned in class, even their part-time jobs, anything like that can be applied onto their cover letters and CVs. And then within the interview skills, just building up, talking about the things you are good at. And so we would just, right from the get-go, hit the class with having those sort of things happening. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And then
and we've got a little case study of how Anne delivers that. And I guess what we've done that I think is a little bit more unique in this unit is we've embedded it in the curriculum. So we have 2 sessions with Anne, one at the beginning of the semester where she does her CV writing job application session with them. And then we have it scaffolded against an assessment, which is that the students have to go find a relevant graduate position and apply for it, and then they get marked on that. So that's the first assessment. And then we have some industry seminars. We introduced compulsory attendance, so we extrinsically motivated these students to show up, and now we have a class full of students, and because they're there, they actually engage, which is incredible. So pushing that little bit of extrinsic motivation, getting people in that are really interactive, and changing, which I don't have time, but a little bit of the structure of how we engage industry as well. But then also scaffolding the assessment against those 2 major assessments against those activities has made the assessments relevant to both what they're doing in class and to their careers, but also, they actually engage, they ask questions, and they interact. And so we've built on this sort of model as we've developed this unit across the past couple of years since we've had Anne involved. I'm just going to move past that slide. So now Anne's going to run you through a bit of an example of how we do a couple of these sessions.
I was gonna see if we have time, but okay, just between you really quickly, what skills do you think students need to apply for this sort of role? And this isn't necessarily an AVBS role, it's probably more of an agriculture role, but what skills would they need to go for it? So I'll just give you like 30 seconds to talk to the person around you about what skills they might need. Okay.
Hands up. Yeah, yell them out. All right. So who's got a couple?
Communication. Yeah. What else? Content knowledge. Awesome. Teamwork. Yeah. Perfect. So just in general, that's what employers are looking for. And how do you articulate and how do you come up with that? So it's quantifying your experience that students might have. It's also using the STAR method when they're going through interviews and giving students practice and examples of when they can articulate those, and then even just their professionalism, how they're going to dress, how are they going to speak, how are they going to conduct themselves with body language. And they gain all this through university. And if they've joined clubs and societies, if they've joined, other things, they can apply that all into building their CVs and cover letters and preparing for interviews. The other thing is there is an AVBS society. I'm just going to go full circle with going into industry. So Sabrina's built us up in class. We started running industry nights with the student life team as well from the Faculty of Science, and then a few other academics. There's food, agriculture, and the students realized they didn't have enough confidence to network. They were nervous to network with industry, so the AVBS Society ran a how to network and got me to come and just get them to do that. So that's also them taking initiative and doing something for themselves in where they realize some of their skills are less strong.
I don't know where we're up to. Oh, yes. So I think having the other good thing is that Anne comes in and gets the students up and standing and does these activities that students cringe at, but it actually gets their blood pumping and they start talking to each other, and they've built this student community. It's a bit sad that we do it in fourth year. So this is one of our next things that we want to address, is how we do this earlier to get them actually interacting with each other, because some of them don't do that until they get to this unit. And Anne is so great at that, but it's also meant that from this unit, they do it. They have to do an assessment associated with it. They actually do really well. They get authentic feedback on those assessments that then mean that they can use that CV and cover letter, adapt it to actually apply for a job at the end of that semester or the end of that year. And they then circle around and contact the Career Center and get help going. So we have this great link between what's happening in class, the co-curricular activities, and the extracurricular things that they're doing as well. Some of the feedback, we've had over the past couple of years is that they love it. They love Anne, but they also love that it's changed. We had really poor USS scores from a metrics perspective because there was just no engagement. We now have heaps of engagement. We've got our USS scores above 4 for like the first time in years, which is amazing. And with the job interview practice session, they have a final assessment now for their unit, which is secure, which is an interactive oral assessment, which is a job interview. So we choose a unit, a job, we give it to them, and they actually they have a 20-minute interview with one of our tutors or me, and they have to apply those STAR method approaches that they've learned with Anne in the classroom. And preceding that, they have an industry panel that gives them feedback on what they would be looking for in a job interview. So we've managed to really, I'll skip past the USS stuff, but we've really managed to bring that engagement back into the classroom, the relevance of what they're doing. You can think about this question because we're running out of time. And I guess what we found is that it's quite simple to embed that career visibility into your unit of study. It's all about making those career paths visible. Engaging with industry has been really helpful in that, and something we want to do more broadly with Will at the university and in the faculty. Making employability disciplinary. which doesn't necessarily mean really focused on one career. It's about embedding it into the curriculum and making it relevant and authentic. So real employers, real jobs, and real recruitment process that they can practice in a safe environment, but making them do it in a way that's still professional by adding that assessment component onto it. Some images from our industry night and engagement. A great group of students, and it's been really enabled us to engage more with our students and break down some of those barriers, which has been amazing, and setting them up for future cohorts as well. And then just something to motivate you all is that a lot of students arrive not knowing exactly what they want to study and what they want to be, but our responsibility is to help them leave knowing where that knowledge can take them beyond that, vet degree, vet science, vet sort of pathway in our program. Thank you. We made it.
All right. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Anne. Is there one quick question for these guys? Pauline has a quick question.
Quick but difficult. Yeah. Okay. So it's excellent what you're doing. How do we scale that into the rest of the curriculum? You don't have to answer it either, but you can. Yeah.
It's almost like I planted that question to you, Pauline. How do we scale that? I think we've got a model, and it's definitely scalable. I think what we do probably commonly across many units of study or many degrees is get the Career Centre in, give them a session on CV writing, job application, whatever. But I think having a model where you link it into the curriculum somehow. So bring in an assessment that's linked to that, and it's linked to how we engage industry into our curriculum as well. I think making it relevant to the students, because that little bit of extrinsic motivation helps them engage, and then it drives that more intrinsic motivation towards actually going, wait, now I actually have to think about where I'm going with my career. So it's a very simple framework. People like Anne are such a valuable resource, and so that's my plug for keeping her employed in the clone Anne, or she can train people.
Or I can just be everywhere. No, I'm just kidding. The other thing is I now know what you can do with your degree, not just in AVBS. Like I'm pretty much more versed in physics, chemistry. And I've reached out to a lot of you last year to try to have that connection. But my idea of what students can do with their science degree is a lot bigger than it was, say, a year ago, too.
Yeah.
So if you can say to the microphone, it's very
This is very applicable for the 3 EEE units.
3 888 units. It's exactly what I would like to do. We can talk about that, Pauline. Yeah. I have a framework.
All right. That's an excellent idea because we will need to do something with those project units.